Mac, you're obviously Chinese, but Mac, you ever did some pimping? Like, where did the name come from? Out of nowhere question, my bad.
Nah, it's good. Nah, I never did no pimping. You know what I'm saying? But the Mac came from when I was locked up in 2002. I was on C9. I was in C95 on Rikers Island. I landed me in the house 11 lower. 11 lower was all ran by a Mac Baller house. There was a new gang called the Mac Baller Brims, right? And was brand new. They was like a couple months in, like maybe a year in or something, but they was brand new. They probably had like 40 people on the roster. And on Rikers Island, 20 of them was in that house because they was pulling everybody in that house. And they landed me in that house. Just you know what I mean? I pulled up. And then one of the people that I was locked up with in juvie before, he was Mac now. So as soon as I pulled up, he like, yo, pull up, it's lit. So he remember like when I was in juvie, shit, I was used to get the bag. You know what I'm saying? Like even at a young age, I used to have shorties come bring me the bag. In juvie, I was doing that.
That's right.
So he was like, oh, it's lit. Like I know my boy smoked. So as soon as I pulled up, you know what I'm saying? I had a shorty pull up, boom, brought me the bag. You know what I'm saying? So like, boom. Now the Mac Ballers, they was like focused on, you know, at that point, they was focused on everybody get money. You know what I'm saying? And there's like a fraction of people that get money, and there's a fraction of people that get busy. You know what I'm saying?
You better not be no Crip coming up in that thing. I heard
better
about
be,
it.
You better, yeah. They was on it. They was on it. You know what I'm saying? They were, yeah. And so when I pulled up, they was like, oh, he Mac material, bro. Like, we need to get him to be Mac. You know what I'm saying? And then I was fighting already. Like, you know what I'm saying? I was like, everybody knew I wasn't no punk. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
At all. So then when I pulled up, everybody was trying to get me to be Mac Baller. You know what I'm saying? All of them. But I was like, nah, I ain't gonna do that. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, I just felt like that wasn't really, that's not me. You feel me? Like now, if I grew up around it, and I grew up in New York, I never felt like Blood and Crip was our thing. I never felt like that.
Welcome to Factz Ova Feelinz podcast. Because for a West Coast person to say that, it would sound like I'm making attacks. But we know those that are aware 30 and up know what the cultures were prior to what it is now. But go ahead, you can keep breaking that down.
Yeah, because, you know, like I told you, I was in the system since 8 years old. So when I was in the system, there wasn't no Bloods and Crips. Like, you know what I'm saying? And when it started coming about, everybody that I was around and all the people that was like, you know what I mean? Like that I was getting game from or whatever, we all agreed. I shared the outlook of, you know, that's not really a New York thing. You feel me? So when that was brought to me, and plus also I'm Chinese, and I was in the whole Chinese gang, and I'm like, I ain't trying to be something.
You stood on shit that mattered from the inside. Yeah.
So I never joined the gang, but I never joined no Bloods, nothing. But
it was your folks.
But they was my folks.
Yeah, I feel you.
You know what I'm saying? Like I get it lit with them. Like if even all the way up to my last year of getting locked up, I had an affinity. Affinity with the Macs because you know what I mean. So like,
you think they respect you more for not being a follower and just being a friend, an ally?
Definitely. Because I do it neutral.
But people don't realize on the opposite side of courage often is something to celebrate. It's so fearful a lot of times. You don't realize that typically it's not as bad as you thought it was. But go ahead.
Right. Yeah. I just didn't really. You know what I mean? So I was like, nah, I don't want to lean on no gang, bro. Like, I'm going to just do this by myself. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to do this by myself. I don't want nobody.
Every times down the line through your stretch where you second guess and was like, you kind of wish maybe I should have, or you always felt like
never.
It was...
Only time I felt like that was like, you know, people was trying to, like, I seen like people that I was coming up with that was like young boys. We was young coming up, and they had hoods and they had status, and I was just like, damn, I could have definitely been past him. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? And I'm looking at people like, damn, you wasn't even like that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? I definitely could have been way, you know what I mean?
Oh, it's gotten a lot easier to represent that part of society, bro. It's
Right.
not as hard to walk the plank as it used to be.
Yeah, it used to be hard.
It used to be hard. You're right.
It used to be, but then I from what I'm saying is totally different from what you're saying. Because
Okay.
I just know that it was hard for my side, like
course.
my side. But
Of
I'm
course.
sure, like on this side, it's totally
Right,
it's a
right.
whole
But
totally
you
different
have a
ball
challenge
game,
that
you feel me?
I haven't even slowed down to even start imagining. Yeah, you talking about from your perspective. It's like,
Right.
oh yeah, okay.
Yeah. So, but I never did that. But then the name came because everybody was trying to get me to be Mac Baller,
Right.
and then they was like, "Yo, nah, that's the Mac. That's the Mac. That's China Mac." So now, throughout my whole years in jail, I never took that name. But the Macs used to just call me,
Right.
Cause I was in Auburn Correctional Facility on one of my last 2 years. I was in Auburn Correctional Facility. You feel me? And I used to work on the depot, and that's when people like on transfer, like when you coming from one jail to the other, you will
Okay.
come through Auburn you will come through Auburn Depot to stay there for a night or
What
two.
you getting they drawers, they
And I
blankets
come
and
through, I
shit.
pull up, I give you food or whatever, I give you your toothbrush or whatever.
Okay.
So when people was coming through, all the Macs, I make sure they good. You know what I'm saying? Yo, I don't even have to know them. Oh, you Mac? Here, boom, take this. And then I make sure all the Macs give me stuff, and then I bring it to them, give it to them. Like, I make sure they was good. So everybody used to call me, like, China Mac. That's China Mac. But then my name was GK through the whole prison stint. You know what I'm saying? And it was
And what
short
that-
for
what that-
Genghis Khan.
Okay.
You know
And
what I'm
what does
saying?
that mean? We got to keep it going.
All right, Genghis Khan is a Mongolian, like, you know, he from Mongolia. He's, you know, a lot of Chinese come from that lineage. You know what I'm saying? They overtook, you know, they overtook a lot, probably the biggest land, the most vast land up to now. You know what I'm saying? So he started from Mongolia, but he reached all the way to the Muslim lands and all that. You know what I'm saying? So,
Okay.
you know, the Mongols, you know what I'm saying? So I used to read all the history books and stuff. So I was like, oh, that's a fire name. So I just took that and
Okay.
was using that as my rap name. But then when I was coming home, GK was the name that I had when I caught my case. So I was like, man, I want to reinvent myself. Like, I don't want to come back home the same person that, you know what I mean? So I want to give myself a little sauce. So then I was like, yo, China Mac is a crazy name though, bro. Like, honestly, that name ring. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
you know what I mean? So I was
does.
like, China Mac.
It sounds gang affiliate though.
Yeah. So China Mac, I was like, I'm gonna run with that. You feel me? So then boom, I came home and the first thing I came out with was China Mac, and everybody just calling me China Mac, and that's how my name came about. You feel me?
That's crazy. And now China Mac is a household name in our communities and our culture.
A household name is crazy.
Yeah, for establishing that. Anybody that tap into what we tap in on the daily, they are fully aware of who China Mac is.